those kind of calls, they kind of send shivers down my back, because I don't know. I don't know why, but kids saying that kind of stuff is really rare. And, you know, everybody has those kind of things. I've heard stories of kids predicting catastrophic events. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you want to support the show in a different way, you can go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. First time caller, you are live from Arizona.
Yes, I am. So this is regarding my daughter, who is now 6 years old. For about 3 years now, she has been having these weird dreams. I guess call them premonitions, but I'm not really into that kind of thing. So anyway, she would wake up and she would just kind of randomly tell us. She would have a dream about water. It was really scary, and it's just a lot of water. Okay, and then we live a couple hours away from the Grand Canyon. She's never seen it. But when I told her about it, she says, no, that's, really bad. And she was scared to even go. So she actually was so freaked out about it that when the family went to the Grand Canyon, she chose not to go because she had a dream about it. Didn't push it. Okay, she went to someone else. Fast forward about 2019. So I grew up on the Texas coast. So we go down there to the beach every year for summer vacation. And we were at the beach. And at that point, she is 5 years old. And she just stood at the sand and just stared at the waves and would not go into the water, just stared at the waves and just kind of blank stare. And so when we asked her why she was staring at the waves, she said she was waiting for all the water to leave. And she said she wanted all the water to leave so she could see the seashells. And we said, well, there's all these little seashells here, pick them up. And she says, no, not those. I'm waiting for all the water to go away so I can get the really big ones that we can't see. Okay. Just kind of redirected her. She didn't want to go into the water, and she just kept staring at the water. And she said she's waiting for all the water to go because then she can get all the seashells, the big ones. Kind of just filed that away into, the little memory box. Not really a significant thing. It was just kind of a weird feeling that I got when she said it. So for some reason, I filed that away. Well, now I was watching, it's called San Andreas. It's a movie with Dwayne Johnson. And so we're watching San Andreas, and she was upstairs watching Octonauts because she's obsessed with Octonauts. So she comes down at this point in the movie where they are driving up to this giant crack in the earth, and it's the San Andreas fault had just split the earth, and it looked like a huge canyon. And so she didn't know that I was watching a movie, so she comes down and she says, Mom, is that live? Is that California? And I said, no, and why would you even bring up California? Like, where did this come from? And I said, no, I'm watching a movie. And she just stood there and watched it silently, which is strange for my 6-year-old. And she stood there and watched it for a couple minutes, and she says, I've seen that. I've seen just that in my dream. Mom, that's the big hole, and then a bunch of water. And then she watches it, and she's, just talking nonstop. And she starts talking at 100 miles an hour, telling me that in her dream, like all of a sudden, all these dreams, she was finally able to put them into words. Where before she really couldn't tell me what the dream was, but all of a sudden she's telling me, I end up that there's this big wave and there's a whole lot of water and lots of people die. And she says, lots of people die in the water, Mommy. Dogs do too. And she's really, really sad. She is standing there in tears because she's almost remembering that people and dogs die in the water. We had never played this movie in the house. We don't watch dystopian, end of the world type movies because I have 2 children that have bad anxiety. So we don't watch the news at the house. I do everything on my phone to keep them from that. And she is just going on and on about the big wave and all these people dying. And there's a big hole in the earth, and this hole just opens up and eats people. And according to her, that the hole reaches up and grabs people and yanks them down. She's 6. So, take that for whatever you would chalk it up to. But just that she's been making weird comments and stuff, since she was about 3 years old. And, then she had this, I guess, revelation when she came into the movie. It was like, okay, this feels like something that's a little more than just my child having, an interesting imagination kind of thing. And when she told her dad, he was like, well, what has she been watching? And I said, she watches Wildcrats, Octonauts, just PBS, Disney type stuff. And he said, she is really freaked out about this. She's been talking about it now, and she's really freaked out about it. And so I don't know what to make of it, but I thought it was something interesting enough to maybe share with you guys. I know a lot of people really believe in dreams and are able to interpret dreams or whatever, premonitions and whatnot. But coming from a child, it hit me a little differently. Let me just say that.
No,
so that was it. I just wanted to share that with you guys because it really creeped me out. And I did ask her, was it San Andreas? And she said no. And I said, have you heard the word San Andreas? Because she asked me, where is it, what the name of the crack was. And I said, San Andreas. And I said it several times. And she said, no, that's not it. No, that's not it. And I was like, okay. And I said, well, that's the name of the movie. And she said, then that's not it. That one is fake, but my dream is real. I was like, okay.
Did it make you think of Cascadia Subduction Zone or something? I don't know. It's weird. We've seen sinkholes all over the country.
I've been following you for years, and so that was my first thought, but I didn't really want to feed anything into her mind, so I didn't want to start suggesting names. I was just like, okay, so it's, she kept saying, no, it's not San Andreas. And I've been following you for years, so my first thought was, could it be Cascadia? And, but I don't know if she would even know the name of it. She would just said, no, it's not San Andreas, but it looked just like that, the big crack in the earth. And she was able to describe the waves. And for my child to talk about people and dogs dying, and I have to say it was almost like she was more sad about the dogs dying than the people, but she's 6. So there you go. But I don't expose her to things like death and stuff. So that really, it just hit really weirdly. I'm like, I shelter her from all of our, SHTF type stuff. And I don't know where she would get this, but she was absolutely adamant, and it was like she was re-seeing it in her head.
Well, Pippi Bebo, is that how to say your screen name? And you guys are in Arizona. That Arizona is actually preparing for people to come from California when the big one hits. They expect that all 3 states are going to be just basically out of commission, and that all of those people are going to have to manually walk from California, from Oregon, from Washington over. And Arizona is actually preparing. They're financially preparing and drilling and exercising to accept people walking from California into Arizona. So that is a crazy thing. And then the tsunami, of course, is going to wipe out the entire West Coast. I don't think people realize how big this will be.
I've heard you say that a lot.
Isn't that weird?
If you've ever driven from California to Arizona, that's a hell of a walk through a lot of desert and sand dunes and stuff.
Exactly. So why would your state be preparing?
A lot of people would not make it walking.
Exactly. It reminds me of the Denver airport mural with the guy with the sword and all those people walking with luggage, and they're all walking out of a movie, like nomads walking across the desert to land. That's how bad it's going to be. That is what Arizona is financially preparing for. That's what they have actually drilled for. So you don't have to believe me. Your state is actually doing it. 21 states are preparing for that event. So it's not going to just be 3 states and everybody's going to go, oh, poor people over there. People are going to feel it 3,000 miles away, which 3,000 miles, the country is 2,800 miles across in places. You're going to feel it on the other side of the country. That tsunami is going to be more than news. It's not going to be like Japan where you watch it on the news and go, oh, poor people in Japan. It's going to be like, you're going to feel it. It's going to change the time of the day. So with everything, yeah, my daughter is 6, just turned 6, and I know that age, and I know what they know, and that is creepy. I do believe that kids are much more perceptive because they're not tainted by, the world yet. And a lot of the things they say, it's just, it comes from a much more innocent place. So when they say stuff like that, it is something you pay attention to.
No, I mean, over the last, since she was about, I want to say this started about 3 years old, and it was just, she would say little things. She often talks about her life in heaven and her memories in heaven. And that's been something that she's always done, where she talks about, when I was in heaven, it was like this, or I remember this and that. And I don't really push it one way or the other. I just say, okay, sweetie, that sounds great. And, she tells me things like that. But little things that she started talking about, it was just little comments or things that happened that I don't even know why, but for some reason in all of, the everyday moments, I have filed these little things away. And so it was just at that moment in the movie where it was like putting all the puzzle pieces together all of a sudden and stepping back and seeing a bigger picture. And it just hit me so differently that I was like, whoa.
Well, Pippi,
this is what she's been seeing for 3 years. And 3 years, mind you, is even before I started listening to you. I've been listening to you for about 2 years. So like, this started even before that. This started before I got into all of this. Where could she have gotten that? And I have no idea.
I don't know, Pippi. Pippi, it sounds like
it has to me, it seems like it's something greater than us.
Pippi, it sounds like you have a very special little girl there. And say hello for her. We are out of time, Pippi, but thank you so much for calling in, and thank you for the story. I believe that little girl is definitely going to be a very special person. So, well, thank you so much. You have a great night. Again, be safe, be prepared.
God bless you and all of your family, and thank you to Dex. He was awesome. And have a good night.
All right,
I'll keep listening to the show.
All right, it was nice meeting you, Pippi. It's your first time call. Don't make it your last. That was Pippi Bebo out of Arizona. Again, first time caller. Those kind of calls, they kind of send shivers down my back, because I don't know. I don't know why, but kids saying that kind of stuff is really rare. And everybody has those kind of things. I've heard stories of kids predicting catastrophic events. In fact, there's documentaries and research in Harvard and Yale into children predicting things. They actually had to go look at it because it was something that has happened so many times that, they had to do actual research studies on it. Very creepy stuff. If you have not prepared, again, the Texas grid is something that is actually well prepared for an EMP, or at least now they have a DEMSO team helping protect them. I would highly recommend you looking into EMP Shield. If you're new here and have not seen this, talk to anybody that has worked with these guys yet. This company is currently contracted with agencies like DOD, Department of Homeland Security, and they are officially on the DEMSO team helping prepare the Texas grid for an EMP/solar flare. Again, it can protect against all three phases of an EMP, E1, E2, and E3, and it can protect against solar flare. Make sure to go check it out. marfugglenews.com/EMP. Again, the most sold one is the car. Don't get stuck out in the snow after an EMP. Multiple ways to enter. Again, there is a contest going on. If you cannot afford one, this is why we ask them all the time to do more contests. Again, all you have to do is go like a couple places, subscribe a couple places, do those things, and you will be entered to win one. Go to marfugglenews.com/contest. There's multiple ways to enter, including daily bonus entries. Go to marfugglenews.com contest. Again, you have to go there for the contest.
Feed the haters to the alligators. Your way or the highway, see you later. B.O.D. is the homie and Mr. Vader. If it wasn't for you, I would never made it. Whole city's covered by the cremated. Now they listen to what we were saying. Doesn't matter if the manufacturer or created. But now